You have thoughts, ideas, creations, and services you want to share with the world, and the web is right there at your fingertips on your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, everywhere. Which begs the question, how do I get my content onto the web? One answer, and a good one at that, is WordPress, the free open source web publishing application you can use to build a blog, a website, an e-commerce store, or whatever you want. The goal of WordPress is to democratize publishing, and since its first release more than 15 years ago, WordPress has become the most used publishing application on the web, powering more than 30% of the top 10 million sites. It is software developed by people like you and me to make web publishing as easy and democratic as possible. It is available in 180 different languages and locales, creates websites anyone can access, and runs on pretty much any server, on all browsers in any country in the world. Chances are, if you spend more than a few minutes on the web, you'll interface with a WordPress site whether you know it or not. And that's the beauty of WordPress. At its core, it is an interface between you, a database, and your visitor, making it easy for you to publish content and control how it is presented to your audience. Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, famously said, "This is for everyone," when describing his creation. And this is a pretty good description of what the web is, a place where anyone and everyone can share their thoughts, ideas, creations, and services with the world. WordPress is the logical extension of that idea. The web is for everyone, and WordPress makes publishing on the web possible for us all. Before we get started, a word on the block editor, aka Gutenberg, and accessibility. As of this recording, the practical accessibility level of the new block editor is unclear. While the interface is technically accessible using touch, mouse, and keyboard, it was designed for use with touch or mouse, and reports indicate keyboard navigation is challenging. So what does that mean for you? Well, it depends. If you use touch or a mouse regularly, the block editor should not present any major accessibility barriers. If you use keyboard navigation, the complexity of creating content with WordPress may increase significantly. If you use assistive technologies like voice control software or other modalities, the block editor may be an accessibility barrier. Due to the uncertainty around the accessibility of the block editor, we are not ready to recommend this editing experience for users who rely on keyboard navigation or assistive technologies. If you or someone who will be working with your site use these technologies or do not have full use of touch interfaces or a mouse, our recommendation is to install either the Classic Editor plugin or the Gutenberg Ramp plugin. These plugins will disable the block editor and return WordPress to the Classic Editor. You'll get more information about these options a little later on in this chapter. This course will be updated when we know more about the accessibility level of the block editor. The new block editor, also known as Gutenberg, fundamentally changes how you create and edit content with WordPress. If you or someone on your team are not ready to switch to the block editor, or you have accessibility concerns about this new interface, there are two options available to return WordPress to the Classic Editor, either wholesale or for specific post types. The Classic Editor plugin is a one-click solution that disables the new block editor and returns all content editing interfaces, so posts, pages, and any custom post types you may have activated, to the original Classic Editor. The Classic Editor plugin is the right solution if you have accessibility concerns, need more time to get ready for the block editor, have setups that rely on or require custom content publishing tools, or any situation where the block editor is a hindrance to content publication. The Gutenberg Ramp plugin enables you to activate the new block editor on selected pages and post types. Say, for example, you want the block editor on regular posts, but not on pages, or you have a custom post type with advanced settings that conflict with the block editor. In these and other scenarios, the Gutenberg Ramp plugin is the right choice. Both Classic Editor and Gutenberg Ramp will be available long-term to ensure the transition from the old WordPress to the new block-based WordPress is as smooth as possible. If you choose to use the Classic Editor plugin, the rest of this course is not for you because it covers the new block editor. For this reason, we've kept the legacy WordPress Essential training course in the library. That course covers content production and management using the Classic Editor in detail. In this course, we'll be working with WordPress, the application. If you're working with WordPress.com, we have a dedicated essential training course for that service, which brings up a common confusion of terms that arises anytime we talk about WordPress. On the web, you'll find two domains using the name WordPress, WordPress.org and WordPress.com. And when talking to people or reading about WordPress, these two domains and the name WordPress are often used interchangeably or haphazardly. This is unfortunate, but understandable, so let's bring some clarity to the situation. When speaking about WordPress, we have to make a clear distinction between three different terms: WordPress, WordPress.org, and WordPress.com. WordPress is the application itself, a free open source web publishing application you can download and install on any server to publish content on the web. An example of the correct use of the term WordPress would be, my new website is powered by WordPress. WordPress.org is the website that hosts the WordPress open source project. From this website, you can download WordPress, the application, find the official documentation for the application in WordPress handbooks, get support through the forums, and get involved with the development of WordPress and its community through make.wordpress.org. An example of the correct use of the term WordPress.org would be, if you're having a problem with your new WordPress site, try asking the question in the WordPress.org forums. WordPress.com is a site offering WordPress as an SaaS, or software as a service. WordPress.com offers free and paid hosting plans with various levels of features. You can build your own site on WordPress.com without finding a host and installing WordPress manually, but your site will be restricted by the platform and its rules. For example, getting your own domain name, installing certain plugins, and creating your own themes is restricted and may only be available by paying a fee. WordPress.com is a walled garden where you trade convenience for autonomy, which in some cases is the best option and in other cases is not. It all depends. An example of the correct use of the term WordPress.com would be, I built my first blog on WordPress.com. Now I want to add functionality to it, so I'm moving to a self-hosted WordPress site. So there you have it. WordPress is the application, WordPress.org is where you get it, and WordPress.com is a service built on top of WordPress. In this course, we'll be working with WordPress, the application. If you're working with WordPress.com, we have a dedicated essential training course for that service.